Next, we have Mr. Joel Brandenberger, President of the National Turkey Federation. Mr. Brandenberger joined NTF in 1991 as the Federation's Director of Public Affairs and served in a variety of positions, most recently as Senior Vice President for Legislative Affairs before being appointed to his current post in December of 2006. Thank you for being here today, Mr. Brandenberger.
Thank you, Chairman Tipton, Ranking Member Kritz, members of the subcommittee. The National Turkey Federation represents all segments of the turkey industry, including growers, processors, breeders, hatchery owners, and allied industry. NTF appreciates the opportunity to testify because our members believe GIPSA's proposed marketing rule will harm the many small businesses that play a vital role in producing more than 5 billion pounds of ready-to-cook turkey meat in the United States. A decade ago, our leadership recognized the need to develop comprehensive policy on legislation and regulation that could affect the grower-processor relationship. We formed a special committee of growers and processors that spent 6 months developing policy that was unanimously approved by our Board of Directors. The policy calls on NTF to support legislation or regulation that helps all parties better understand the nature of the contract they are entering into. We supported the 2009 GIPSA rule that enhanced transparency in contracts and permitted growers to discuss a proposed contract with financial and legal advisors as well as business partners. But NTF strongly objects to any proposed law or rule that would insert the government into the negotiating process by dictating specific terms of compensation or excessively limiting the ability of either party to manage their financial risk. Our members believe this is exactly what the current GIPSA rule would do. The rule fails to grasp the diversity of today's turkey industry. Turkeys are processed by family-owned companies, grower-owned cooperatives, and large, diversified international companies. 10 of the 25 turkey processors in this country meet SBA's definition of a small business. But small business plays a bigger role in the industry as well. A significant percentage of the more than 8,000 family farms that raise turkeys are, in fact, small businesses, employing staffs in some cases as large as 250 people. Some of these family-owned small businesses are also part of the 7 grower-owned cooperatives that produce turkey in this country. All of them understand the critical importance of maintaining a strong business relationship between growers and processors. About 80% of the turkeys today are produced under the traditional production contract, where the company owns the turkeys, provides the feed, the veterinary care, and the grower provides the housing and their expertise. Another 10% are produced under marketing contracts, where the grower owns the birds, provides the feed, the veterinary care, as well as the housing and expertise, and sells to the processor at a previously contracted price. In both of those cases, growers' compensation can vary according to specific terms in the contract. The remaining 10% of turkeys are raised on company-owned farms. I want to highlight 3 aspects of the rule that create enormous potential problem for today's industry. The first is the competitive injury provision that's been talked about quite a bit here. The second is the provision that would require processors to virtually guarantee a grower can recoup 80% of their capital investments. And the third is a series of provisions, which the previous witness discussed, that would discourage competitive contracts and reduce the premiums or deductions that growers can receive based on the performance of the birds in their care. Taken together, these provisions create significant new legal and regulatory risk for turkey processors. And as processors seek to manage that risk, there could be serious unintended consequences. The most obvious is that contracts will become less competitive and compensation more uniform. Those farmers, large and small, who are doing an outstanding job in receiving premiums will justifiably feel cheated as a new regulation forces everyone to a lower common denominator. The bigger impact may come later. As processors seek to minimize their risk, one conceivable option would be to grow more turkeys on fewer farms, eliminating production on all, or eliminating or reducing production on all but the best performing farms. Processors could also increase the number of turkeys grown on company-owned farms. An excellent example of unintended consequences comes from a grower member who testified last week before the Senate Agriculture Committee. His family farm is one of 16 that owns a processing cooperative in the upper Midwest. This co-op is hoping to expand over the next few years. Some of the expansion can be covered by increasing the number of turkeys grown on the existing farms. But ultimately, they believe that contracting with other farmers may be the only route they have to the expansion they envision. They have said if this rule takes effect, they believe the risk will be too large and it will limit their expansion. So the irony in this is rich. We have growers who feel that a rule allegedly designed to empower them will in fact ultimately stifle their ability to grow and create new jobs. What is especially frustrating is what's been discussed here already at length. USDA proposed this rule without conducting an adequate assessment of its economic impact. A study funded by NTF found an economic impact of $360 million to our industry alone. Others have shown impacts in other industries as large as $1 billion over 5 years and a $14 billion reduction in the gross domestic product. USDA now has agreed to an economic assessment, as we've heard, but as we've also heard, there's no commitment yet to open it for comment after it's completed. In order for there to be any level of confidence that this final rule really is going to promote the best interest of family farmers and their small businesses, it is essential that this economic analysis be submitted for public comment before the rule